The station floated quietly at the edge of the blue giant star, its metal body glowing faintly from reflected light. Inside, hundreds of beings, from dozens of species, lived and worked together, all bound by treaties, science, and uneasy cooperation. The station was called Haven 9, a place meant to be neutral and safe. But safety meant different things to different species. For the alien girl, safety barely existed at all. She stood near the far wall of the observation corridor, her thin fingers pressed flat against the smooth metal. Her skin shimmered faintly, changing color in slow waves that betrayed her emotional state. Right now, the colors were sharp and uneven, a clear sign of fear. Her people were known for this trait. They could not hide what they felt, no matter how hard they tried. Crew members passed by at a distance, pretending not to stare. Some slowed their steps, curious. Others quickened them, uneasy. Everyone knew who she was. She was the only survivor brought from a destroyed listening outpost, the first of her kind to stay long-term on a mixed-species station. Scientists called her a cultural bridge. Security quietly labeled her a risk. She felt all of it. Every sound echoed too loudly. Every unfamiliar movement sent a spike of panic through her nervous system. Her species evolved on a world where predators hunted by deception, where trust was usually fatal. Their minds were shaped by constant danger. Proximity meant vulnerability. Vulnerability meant death. That was why she stayed alone. Except today, something was different. Across the corridor, a human technician worked on a maintenance panel. He was not tall compared to some species, not especially strong-looking either. His uniform was worn at the edges, sleeves rolled up in a casual way that broke protocol slightly, but never enough to be punished. His face showed concentration, but not tension. His movements were steady and unhurried. She watched him without realizing she had started. Humans were strange, loud when relaxed, quiet when focused. Their emotions were hidden behind faces that did not change color, bodies that did not glow or pulse. That made most species uncomfortable around them. To her, though, something else stood out. He was calm, not forced calm, not the stiff stillness of someone trying to appear harmless. It was a natural calm, the kind that came from experience and acceptance. When a small alarm chirped from the panel, he did not jump. He sighed softly, adjusted a tool, and continued.
Her fear colors softened just a little.
She did not understand why. When a group of delegates passed through the corridor, their voices sharp and unfamiliar, her skin flared bright again. Her breathing became shallow. She pulled closer to the wall, trying to make herself smaller. The human noticed. He did not stare. He did not approach. He simply shifted his body slightly, placing himself between her and the loud group without fully turning around. It was subtle, easy to miss. But she felt it. The delegates passed, the noise faded, her colors dimmed. Her heart slowed. She took a small step forward without thinking. The human finished his work and straightened, stretching his shoulders. Only then did he turn and notice her standing closer than before. For a brief moment, surprise crossed his face. Then he smiled, small and careful. "Hey," he said quietly. "Didn't mean to crowd you." He took half a step back. Her species did not smile. They showed intent through color and posture. But she understood the meaning of the expression from the training sessions. Non-threatening. Friendly. She nodded once. The words she wanted to say did not come easily. Her vocal cords were not built for human language. Still, she tried. "It is fine," she said slowly. He nodded, accepting the answer without pushing. That alone was unusual. Most beings asked more questions. Humans often did too. This one didn't. Another alarm sounded, louder this time. The station lights flickered briefly, shifting to a warning yellow. "Emergency drill!" The announcement echoed through the corridors, calm but firm. Crew members began moving faster, voices rising. Doors slid open and closed. Footsteps multiplied. Her fear spiked instantly. Her skin flashed bright white, the color of pure panic for her species. Her hands trembled. Drills were worse than real danger sometimes. Too many moving parts, too many unknowns. She froze. The human did not run. He turned fully toward her now, lowering himself slightly so his eyes were not above hers. He kept his hands visible, palms open. "It's okay," he said softly. "Just a drill. We've got time." She could hear the truth in his voice. Not certainty that nothing bad would happen, but confidence that he could handle it if it did. That mattered. A crew member brushed past too close, their shoulder nearly touching her. She flinched sharply, a sound escaping her throat before she could stop it. Without thinking, she moved. She stepped closer to the human, until she was just within arm's reach, close enough to feel his body heat, close enough to hear his breathing. The station noise faded into the background. Her colors settled into a slow, muted pattern. She looked up at him, eyes wide, and spoke before fear could stop her. "I feel safe," she said, the words rough but clear. "Only here." "With you?" The human froze. Around them, alarms continued. People rushed. No one noticed the quiet moment except a nearby camera. He swallowed, clearly unsure what to do. Then he nodded once. "Okay," he said. "I'm right here." He did not touch her. He did not step away. He simply stayed. Her heart slowed further. Later, in the medical wing, doctors would argue about that moment. Sensors recorded her vital signs dropping from dangerous levels to near resting within seconds of approaching him. Data analysts would replay the footage again and again, looking for tricks, pheromones, hidden signals. They would find none. For now, all that mattered was that she was no longer alone. Security eventually escorted them both to a designated safe area. Protocol demanding separation once the drill ended. When they tried to guide her away, panic returned instantly. "No," she said, voice breaking. "Please." The human looked at the officer, then at her. "It's okay," he told her again. "I'm not leaving." "I promise." The officer hesitated, then sighed. "Fine, but you're staying put." They sat together on a bench, not touching, but close enough. The lights returned to normal. The alarm stopped. She watched his hands as he rested them on his knees, strong, scarred, steady. Hands that fixed broken systems. Hands that did not reach unless invited. "You are not afraid," she said quietly. He thought about it. "I am," he answered honestly. "Just not of you." Her skin shifted to a soft, warm color. Relief. Gratitude. Her species had studied fear their entire existence. They could sense lies easily. His answer rang true. "I do not understand humans," she admitted. He smiled slightly.
"Yeah, that's fair." They sat in silence after that, a comfortable one.
For the first time since arriving on Haven, 9, her body was not preparing to flee or fight. For the first time, her mind rested. Somewhere deeper in the station, unnoticed by either of them, a report was being generated. A simple line stood out among the data. Subject exhibits unique neurological synchronization and proximity to human personnel. It would take time before anyone understood what that truly meant. But the first step had already been taken. She leaned just a little closer, and the human stayed the medical wing of Haven. 9 was quiet in a way that felt artificial. The lights were softer than elsewhere on the station, adjusted to suit many species at once. The air carried a neutral scent meant to calm nervous systems. None of it helped the alien girl much, except when the human was nearby. She sat on the edge of a medical bed, feet barely touching the floor. Thin sensor patches rested against her skin, glowing faintly as they tracked her heart rate, neural activity, and stress responses. Normally, the readings would be unstable. They had been ever since she arrived. Now, they were steady. Across the room, the human leaned against the wall with his arms folded loosely. He looked uncomfortable, not because of her, but because of the attention. Doctors and specialists stood in a half-circle, whispering to one another, glancing between the data displays and the two of them. "She should not be this calm," one xenobiologist muttered. "Humans are a known stressor species," another replied.
High unpredictability, emotional inconsistency.
Yet her panic response dropped by 60% when he entered the room. The human shifted his weight slightly. "Ah," he said, clearing his throat. "Am I in trouble?" The chief medical officer turned to him, her eyes a reflective silver. "No."
You are. Confusing. He gave a small, awkward smile. Yeah, I get that a lot. The alien girl watched him closely. Not with fear.
With focus. Her skin showed soft, slow-moving colors that indicated alertness without distress. This was rare for her kind, almost unheard of in an unfamiliar environment. The doctor approached her carefully. "Can you tell us why you moved closer to the human during the drill?" The girl hesitated. Language was still difficult. Concepts, even more so. "I did not choose," she said slowly. "My body did." The room went quiet.
What did it feel like? The doctor asked gently.
The girl searched for the right words. Like silence. Inside my thoughts. That answer unsettled them more than panic ever could. Her species did not experience silence easily. Their minds were built to constantly scan for danger, to imagine threats before they existed. Peace was not natural to them. The human frowned slightly. "Is that bad?" She turned her head toward him. "No," she said. "It is new." The doctors exchanged looks. After hours of scans and questions, they allowed the human to stay nearby, though not officially inside her isolation space. Protocol demanded distance. Reality demanded flexibility. When he stepped too far away, her stress indicators rose. When he returned, they fell again. Patterns began to form. Later, in a quieter observation room, a group of researchers reviewed the data in detail. Graphs showed sharp spikes and sudden drops, timestamps aligned perfectly with the human's movements.
"It's not pheromonal," one said.
"No chemical markers detected. Not verbal either," another added. "She calms even when he's silent." "Then what is it?"
They watched a recording.
The human sitting, breathing evenly, not staring, not fidgeting. "He is emotionally regulated," someone said slowly. "Exceptionally so." Humans were known for emotional extremes. Anger, joy, grief, hope. But what most species failed to notice was how often humans learn to manage those emotions under pressure, especially the ones who worked in dangerous environments. The human technician had spent years fixing systems that could kill him if he made a mistake. He had learned calm not as a trait, but as a skill for her species. That mattered more than strength or intelligence. That night cycle, the lights dimmed to simulate rest hours, the station quieted. Most beings retreated to private quarters. The alien girl lay awake. Sleep did not come easily to her. It never had. Too many instincts pulling at her awareness. Too many imagined threats. She turned her head slightly and saw the human seated just outside the transparent barrier, reading from a handheld device. He had volunteered to stay nearby, claiming he had nothing better to do. He was lying, but kindly. "You should rest," she said softly. He looked up. "I will, in a bit."
"You are tired?"
"Yeah," he admitted. "But it's okay." She considered that. "Why?" she asked. "Why stay?" He thought for a long moment before answering. Because no one should be scared alone. Her skin shifted color, warm and deep. Something in her chest tightened painfully, then eased. Her species had no word for that feeling. The next day, the news spread, not officially. Quietly, whispers among crew members. Looks exchanged in corridors. Some were curious. Others were suspicious. A few were afraid. If one human can influence her that much, a security officer said, what else can they influence? Another replied, or what happens if he leaves? That question reached the wrong ears. A meeting was called. The human stood in a sterile room facing a panel of officials, diplomats, scientists.
We are not accusing you, one said.
But this situation is unstable. She depends on you, another added. That is dangerous. He clenched his jaw slightly. She doesn't depend on me. She feels safe near me.
There's a difference. Safety creates dependency, a diplomat replied.
He shook his head. No. Safety creates choice. Silence followed. They decided on a test, distance. Without telling her in advance, they asked the human to remain away for several hours while they monitored her response.
It was framed as necessary research, he argued.
He lost. When he did not appear at the usual time, she noticed immediately. Her thoughts grew louder. Her skin color sharpened. Her breathing quickened. She waited. Minutes passed, then hours. By the third hour, alarms began to trigger. She was not screaming, not lashing out. She was shutting down. Her body curled inward, protective instincts overwhelming reason. Medical staff rushed in, trying to stabilize her. Nothing worked. Finally, someone broke protocol.
Bring him back,
a voice said sharply. When the human entered the room, she reacted instantly. Her eyes opened, her body relaxed. Color softened across her skin like dawn. She reached out without thinking and stopped just short of touching him. Waiting, he sat down beside her, close but respectful. I'm here, he said quietly. I'm sorry. Her breathing steadied. The data was undeniable. Later, alone again, she spoke.
When you are gone,
she said.
The world feels sharp.
He swallowed.
I don't want to hurt you.
You do not, she replied.
You reduce harm. That night, a report was sent beyond Haven 9.
To places far away, to beings who watched carefully. It contained no dramatic language, just facts. Her species had found something in humans that no other civilization had ever provided. A calm that did not demand submission. A presence that did not seek control. A safety that allowed choice. And that, quietly, changed everything. She leaned back against the bed, eyes closing. Outside the barrier, the human remained seated, keeping watch. Not because he was ordered to, but because it felt right. The station changed after that, not in ways that were easy to see at first. The lights stayed the same. The corridors remained busy. Ships still docked and left on schedule. But something beneath the surface had shifted, like a structure adjusting to new weight. People watched the human more closely now. Some did it with curiosity, others with worry. A few with open distrust. The alien girl noticed all of it. She sat beside the wide observation window, knees drawn close to her chest. The blue giant star burned slowly outside, beautiful and dangerous. Her skin reflected her thoughts in gentle waves of color, calmer than they had ever been since her arrival. The human sat nearby, not beside her this time, but close enough. He had learned the distance that worked best. Too far, and her instincts sharpened. Too close, and she became aware of her own unfamiliar feelings. This space between them felt right. A group of officials passed outside the room, voices low but tense.
She is stabilizing around him, one said. That is exactly the problem.
another replied. The human heard it. He pretended not to. The girl did not pretend. Her color shifted darker.
They speak of separation, she said quietly. He looked at her.
Yeah. I know. Will you go?
The question was not traumatic, it was honest. He did not answer right away. He had learned that rushing answers often caused harm. Instead, he spoke carefully. I don't want to, he said, but some people think I should. Because I am dangerous? He frowned.
No, because you matter.
She tilted her head, confused.
Those are not the same. They are to some people.
That night, a formal announcement echoed through Haven. 9.
A diplomatic envoy from her species was arriving sooner than expected. High authority, high concern. The station entered a state of controlled tension. For the girl, the news was terrifying. Her people did not come lightly. When they did, it meant judgment. She remembered fragments from her past, the way her kind evaluated risk, the way they removed unstable elements to protect the whole. Individuals were not sacred to them. Survival was. If they see this, she whispered, they may decide I am flawed. The human turned fully toward her. You're not flawed. She shook her head slowly. You do not know my people. He considered that. Fair. But I know you. Her skin warmed slightly. The envoy arrived 2 cycles later. Their ship was sleek, dark, and silent as it docked. Security doubled across the station. Scientists gathered. Diplomats rehearsed speeches. The alien girl could barely breathe. She stood behind a transparent barrier as 3 members of her species entered the meeting chamber. They were taller than her, their colors muted and controlled. Experience had taught them how to suppress what they felt. They saw everything. They noticed her stable posture, her relaxed breathing, her lack of distress. Then they noticed the human. One of them stepped closer to the barrier, eyes narrowing slightly. Why is he here? She answered honestly. Because I am safe. A ripple of unease passed through them. That is not possible, another said. Humans destabilize most neural patterns. Most, she replied. They requested private time with her. The human was asked to leave the chamber. As the door slid shut between them, her fear surged. Not wildly, but deep and sharp. She felt the world grow louder inside her mind. The elders noticed. You are distressed, one said. Yes, she admitted. Why? She looked at the closed door. Because he is gone! That silence that followed was heavy. They questioned her for hours. About her thoughts, her emotions, her reactions. They tested her responses with recorded voices, images, simulations. None of it worked. Finally, one elder asked the question they had avoided. What is he to you? She struggled to answer. He is not dominant, she said. Not protective by force. He does not command me. He does not bind me. Then why does your nervous system align with his presence? She searched for the right concept. Because he does not demand anything from my fear. That answer shook them. Her species had always believed fear must be controlled, managed, used. Humans apparently could let fear exist without exploiting it. After long debate, they allowed the human back into the room. When the door opened and he stepped inside, the change in her was immediate. Her posture straightened, her colors softened, her breathing slowed. The elders saw it clearly now. This bond, one said slowly, is not chemical. No, she said. Not hierarchical. No. Then it is chosen. Yes, that was unprecedented. Later, the elders spoke privately among themselves. Their words were low, but intense.
Humans are unpredictable, yes, but so is safety. They could.
But this one does not. And if he dies? That question carried weight. Her species bonded rarely because loss was catastrophic. To bond was to risk collapse. Meanwhile, the human sat quietly, hands folded, eyes lowered. He knew he was being evaluated. He did not like it, but he accepted it. Finally, an elder addressed him directly. "Why do you remain near her?" He looked up. "Because she asked me to. And because it helps. That is insufficient reason." He nodded.
Maybe.
"But it's the honest one." The elders studied him carefully. They searched for ambition, hunger, fear of authority. They found none strong enough to be dangerous. Still, doubt remained. That night, something went wrong. A systems failure rippled through the station, triggered by a micrometeor impact. Power flickered, gravity shifted briefly, emergency protocols activated. For most, it was frightening. For the alien girl, it was unbearable. Her instincts screamed danger. The old fear returned in full force. The human reached her quickly, placing himself within her line of sight, speaking calmly over the alarms. "Look at me," he said. "Breathe with me." She tried, failed. Her body shook. The elders watched from behind reinforced glass. They saw the human kneel, lowering himself, steady and patient. He did not restrain her. He did not command her. He matched his breathing to hers, until, slowly, she followed. The alarms faded. Systems stabilized. She collapsed against the bench, exhausted but alive. The elders stood in silence. One finally spoke. "This human does not control her," another replied. "He anchors her." That difference mattered. By the next cycle, the station received a message from her home authority. She would not be removed. Instead, a long-term observation and cooperation initiative would begin, with humans. The alien girl learned this sitting beside the window again, the human nearby. "They will let me stay," she said softly. He smiled with relief.
That's good. They wish to understand you.
He blinked, that worrying. Her colors warmed with amusement. Outside Haven, 9. Far beyond the station's sensors, attention shifted. Other civilizations began to notice the reports, the data, the anomaly. Humans were not the strongest, not the most advanced, but they did something no one else had managed. They made the most fearful species in the galaxy feel safe, and that made humans very interesting. She leaned slightly closer to him. Just enough. He did not move away. The attention did not arrive loudly. There were no threats at first, no fleets appearing at the edge of sensor range, no angry messages demanding answers. Instead, the attention came in questions, requests.
Observers having...
9 began receiving more visitors than usual. Research vessels, cultural delegates, neutral monitors from species that rarely involved themselves in anything emotional. They all said the same thing in different ways. They wanted to understand the human. The alien girl felt it immediately. She could sense when beings were watching with intent. Her skin colors shifted more often now, not in fear, but in alert awareness. The station felt crowded, even when corridors were empty. "They are looking at you," she said quietly, as they sat near the observation window. The human exhaled slowly.
Yeah, I know. You do not like it. No, he admitted. But I get why they're curious.
"Curiosity can become hunger," she replied. That worried him. A formal inquiry was announced soon after. A multi-species council would observe the interaction between the human and the girl directly. No interference, no manipulation, just watching. On paper, it was neutral. In reality, it was pressure. The human was called into another meeting. This time, the room was larger, more faces.
More eyes.
"You are now a variable," one official said.
That makes you valuable, he frowned. I didn't ask for that. Value does not require consent. The alien girl was not allowed inside the chamber.
She waited outside, sitting very still, trying not to imagine what could go wrong. Her people had taught her that attention often led to control. When the human returned, she saw the tension in his shoulders immediately. "They want to study us," he said.
Not separately. Together. Her colors darkened.
"Like an experiment. Yeah," he said. But they promised limits. Her people had also taught her that promises from powerful groups were flexible. The observation period began the next cycle. They were placed in a controlled environment designed to simulate normal station life. Transparent walls. Soft lighting. Sensors everywhere. The girl hated it. The human noticed. "This is too much," he said quietly to the overseeing staff.
She's not a display. She is stable, a scientist replied. That is what matters. He shook his head.
"She's stable because she feels respected. You're pushing that." The scientist paused, uncomfortable, but the observation continued. The girl sat on a low bench, hands clasped tightly. Her breathing was shallow, the silence pressed in. The human sat beside her, not touching, but close. "You don't have to perform," he murmured. "Just be you." "I do not know who that is without fear," she said. He thought about that. "Then we'll figure it out slowly." Her colors softened just a little. The observers recorded everything. They noted how he never forced conversation, how he waited for her signals before adjusting distance, how he mirrored calm instead of trying to erase fear. Other species had tried logic. Sedatives, control. Humans offered presence. Hours passed, then days. The girl began to speak more freely, not just to the human, but around him. Her voice grew steadier, her movements less guarded. The observers could not deny the results. But not everyone was impressed. A delegation from a heavily militarized civilization raised concerns. "If humans can influence her species this deeply," their representative said, "they could destabilize galactic power structures." The human heard about that later. "They think you're dangerous," he told her gently. She looked at him, confused. "You are gentle." "Those two things aren't opposites," he replied. That truth unsettled many. Then came the proposal. A joint protection agreement. Her species would formally recognize humans as compatible guardians during high-stress interactions. Humans, in return, would gain unprecedented access to their culture and trust. It was not about weapons or technology. It was about emotional sovereignty. The human was horrified. "I'm not a guardian," he said during another meeting. "I'm just a guy who stayed put." "That is exactly why," an elder from her species replied via hologram.
You do not seek the role. The alien girl listened quietly. What do you want? He asked her later.
She took a long time to answer. "I want to choose," she said finally, without fear deciding for me. He nodded. "Then that's what matters."
The council delayed the agreement. Too many implications.
Too many unknowns. That delay nearly cost everything. A rival faction attempted to remove the girl from Haven. 9, quietly, believing isolation would break the bond and restore what they called natural order. They failed, not because of weapons, because the girl screamed. Not in sound, but in neurological distress so intense it triggered station-wide emergency alerts. The human reached her before security did. She was shaking, panic overwhelming her senses. "They are taking me," she gasped. "No," he said firmly. "They're not." He stood between her and the approaching figures, unarmed, unthreatening, but immovable.
"Back away,"
he said calmly. Security arrived moments later. The attempt was exposed. The political fallout was immediate. The galaxy watched. They saw humans refuse power, refuse control, refuse fear-based authority. They saw a human stand in front of something fragile, not to own it, but to protect its right to choose. The council reconvened urgently. This time, the decision was fast. The agreement was approved, not because humans were strong, but because they were restrained. The alien girl learned this sitting quietly beside the human, holding a warm drink he had brought her. "They will not separate us," she said.
"Good," he replied. "I didn't like that idea." "They are afraid of you," she added.
He smiled tiredly. "They should be more afraid of what happens when people stop caring." Her colors glowed softly. Across the galaxy, reports spread. Not dramatic, not loud, just a simple conclusion repeated again and again. Humans were not safe because they controlled fear. Time did not return. Haven. 9 to what it had been. It moved forward instead, carrying consequences with it. The station felt calmer now, but heavier too, as if everyone understood that something important had happened and could not be undone. The alien girl no longer stayed hidden near walls or corners. She still preferred quiet places, still avoided crowds, but she walked the corridors with purpose now. The choice changed posture. The human walked beside her at a respectful distance, not because anyone ordered it, but because that was how she preferred it. Some days she walked closer, other days she needed space. He followed her lead without comment. That alone became a lesson many species struggled to understand. The agreement with her people went into effect slowly. No ceremonies, no declarations, just policy changes, small and careful. Humans were approved as support presence during high-stress interactions involving her species. Not commanders, not handlers. Anchors, the word unsettled many governments. Across the galaxy, debates flared. Philosophers argued. Military leaders complained. Economists worried about imbalance.
"How can safety be a strategic resource?" they asked. No one had a good answer.
The alien girl was asked once if she understood the scale of what she had started. "I did not start it," she said simply. "I survived it." That answer spread further than any report. The human struggled with the attention. Interviews were requested. Statements demanded. He refused most of them. "I didn't do anything special," he told a council liaison.
"I just stayed. That is what frightens them," the liaison replied. The girl overheard that conversation.
Later, she asked him about it. "Why do they fear staying?" she asked. He thought for a long time.
"Because staying means responsibility," he said.
"And responsibility means you can fail someone." She considered that. "You did not fail me," she said. His throat tightened slightly. "I'm glad." One cycle, her species sent a small delegation. Not elders this time, but observers, younger, curious, nervous. They met her in a quiet chamber.
"You are different," one said,
unable to hide their concern.
Yes, she replied calmly.
"Are you damaged?" She shook her head. "I am safer."
They studied her colors. Steady.
Balanced. Alive. The human remained outside, deliberately distant. He did not want to influence the meeting. Still, when the delegation left, one of them paused near him. "You do not command her," the observer said.
"No," he replied. "You do not guide her choices."
"No."
"Then why does she trust you?"
He answered honestly. "Because I don't leave when she's afraid." That observer carried the words home. Change came slowly after that, but it came. Other members of her species requested human presence during negotiations, then during travel, then during recovery from trauma. Humans were confused at first. Many said no. Those who said yes were carefully selected, trained not in control, but in listening. The galaxy watched closely. What they saw disturbed them more than weapons ever had. Humans did not demand gratitude. They did not claim ownership. They did not turn trust into leverage. They treated safety like something temporary, fragile, and shared. That kind of power could not be measured. One day, the alien girl stood before the large observation window again, watching ships drift past the blue star. The human stood nearby, leaning against the wall. "I remember when this place was only noise," she said. He smiled faintly. "Yeah, stations can be like that." "No," she said.
Inside me? He understood. "You did good," he said quietly.
I was afraid, she replied. Still counts. She turned to face him fully now, something she once could not do without panic.
"What will happen when I no longer need you?" she asked. He did not flinch at the question. "Then I'll be proud of you," he said, "and probably a little sad. But that's okay." Her color shifted, complex and thoughtful. "You accept endings," she said. "I don't like them," he corrected. "But I accept that they exist." That idea was new to her species. Later, during a quiet meal in a small corner of the station, she did something unprecedented. She reached out and touched his hand. Just briefly, her entire body waited for panic. It did not come. She pulled back, stunned, then looked at him. "I chose that," she said softly. He smiled, careful and warm.
Yeah, you did. The moment was recorded by no censors.
Witnessed by no observers. It did not need to be. Months passed. Haven. 9 became known for something other than neutrality. It became known as a place where fear was allowed to exist without punishment. That reputation attracted those who needed it most. The alien girl began helping others of her species adjust, not by explaining humans, but by showing what choice looked like. The human remained nearby during these sessions, quiet, steady, present. Eventually, she asked him to step away, not because she was afraid, because she wanted to try alone. He did, and she succeeded. When she returned later, eyes bright, posture strong, she said only one thing. "I came back because I wanted to, not because I needed to." He nodded. "That's the best reason." Far away, on worlds that had never met a human, stories spread, not myths, not legends, just observations. Humans sit with fear. Humans do not rush. Trust. Humans stay. That knowledge changed negotiations, changed alliances, changed how power was measured. Not all welcomed it, but it could not be undone. On her last official day as a protected subject, the alien girl stood before the council. Her voice was steady, her colors calm. "I was afraid when I came here," she said. "Fear was all I knew." She paused, then continued. "I learned that fear does not disappear when you are safe. It becomes quieter. It listens." She looked briefly toward the humans standing at the back of the chamber. "And when someone listens to your fear without using it against you," she said, "you become free." The chamber was silent. Afterward, as they walked the corridor together one last time in this role, she stopped. "I will travel soon," she said. "My people need what I learned." He nodded. "They're lucky." She tilted her head. "Will you miss me?" He smiled, honest and a little sad. "Yeah, I will." She stepped closer, just for a moment. "I feel safe," she said, "even when you are not here now." His eyes softened. "That means you did the hard part." She turned and walked away, posture strong, steps sure. The human watched until she disappeared into the crowd. Around him, the station continued as always, busy, loud, alive. But something fundamental had changed. The galaxy had learned a dangerous truth. Humans were not terrifying because they conquered. They were terrifying because they stayed calm when others panicked. Because they offered safety without ownership. Because they understood that the strongest bond was the one that could be let go. And somewhere between the stars, that knowledge spread quietly, like safety, like choice, like hope. Humans were safe because they accepted it, and stayed anyway, and that made them impossible to ignore. She leaned against him slightly, testing. He stayed.